Let's try it now. Okay, very good. Glad I caught that. I went quite a while the other day muted and didn't realize that I was muted. Hey, Troy. So Judoka and Frasco are live streaming. Wow, I didn't realize that. Stepanzo and Quodlibet are playing here. And so I've done something a little bit different. I have a mute button on my Stream Deck, and watch what happens when I hit the mute button. You couldn't hear me, but the great big red letter mute shows up. So it reminds me to unmute so that I don't do what I did the other night and play and attempt to broadcast. Let me tell Stepanzo. So Stepanzo got into room 2. I wanted to let him know that I wanted him in room 1. So hopefully he sees my text in the lobby. So we're going to have a great game this evening. This is 2 real top quality players. Of course, you're very familiar with Quodlibet. He's the 4-time world champion, current world champion, against Stepanzo. And Stepanzo has been playing for quite a while, and is one of the top players in the world, very active in the community, and we're glad to see him doing as well as he is. Both of these players have qualified to move on. The question is, who will finish first in Group A and who will finish second in Group A? And their opponents have already been decided. The Group A players are paired up against the Group F players. Group F was won by Jib. That's Jean-Baptiste Chaubet. He's the developer of the Hive app for Android. And Apollo Q. He's the host of the Hive Live event just before COVID hit, and there's going to be another one next month in Minneapolis, Minnesota in the USA as well. So we've got Stepanzo in the lobby. We're just waiting for the other players to join the lobby as well. Okay, good. So Troy was watching my live stream of a match between Judoka and Frasco. So both of those players have also moved on, and that could be the final 4. We could have Stepanzo, Quodlibet, Judoka, and Frasco making it into the semifinals. But there's some very tough competition has made it. I did qualify out of my group, but I don't really have a lot of hope for my continuing. A lot of the younger players are much better than me. I'm kind of getting old at this competition. So we've got 3 current players, 3 current viewers in the lobby, watching my YouTube channel. So make sure that you let me know who you are and where you're from. We've got Troy Medler joining. Welcome, Troy. We're glad to have you with us this evening. And we're going to try the mute button again. Here we go. So you got a big red mute across there. So I shouldn't be accidentally muting myself and not catching it. So Stepanzo's in game room 1 waiting, and Quodlibet has joined the lobby. Said he'll be back in 2 minutes. Of course, this is the time period that's not really good for our European friends. It's 2300 GMT, which places Europe well approaching midnight or past midnight. But both Quodlibet and Stepanzo are in the Western Hemisphere. Stepanzo, even though he's a native Russian, is living in the west coast of the U.S. So it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Friday afternoon his time. And Quodlibet, of course, is in Chile in South America. And I'll try to keep an eye out. On how many viewers we currently have. So game one was very exciting in this match. Game two was kind of a snooze fest. Quodlibet did not play up to his usual self, and Stepanzo won that game fairly handily. So we're hoping for a more competitive game three. Of course, if they split game three and game four and they end up tied, then Stepanzo moves on as the number one finisher by tie breaks. Quodlibet needs to win the match in order to win the group. So he has to either win both or win one and draw one. And there's some other competitions going on right now as well. Over at Board Game Arena, Stepanzo, who is playing in this match, is sponsoring and hosting the current King of the Hive competition. I did fairly well in the last round, which moved me up a round, but I'm getting blasted this round. I've lost 3 of my 4 games. I have a chance of winning game 4, so I will definitely be relegated down into a lower group. But the competition is extremely tough. The Hive community worldwide is getting stronger and stronger on a day-by-day basis. So Quodlibet says he needed to make a coffee, so I guess he's got to get his caffeine in him to make sure that he's playing at that top quality, top level of Hive that he's very capable of doing. We're up to 4 concurrent viewers. Make sure you drop a note in the chat window. Let me know who you are and where you're from. Of course, there is a 2-minute delay. And there's no doubt that neither one of these players, Quodlibet or Stepanzo, would attempt to cheat by watching the live stream, but we have that delay just to minimize the probability of that. And if you keep seeing me look this direction, my primary monitor is over here with my OBS studio here and my YouTube window here, and then the game is being played in front of me. And I've got the lobby open, and I will have a review room open where we will be following the game live. And then once they get going and I get game room 1 opened, as a spectator, that will show up in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. But the biggest portion of the screen is taken up by the review. So Quodlibet says, I hope the anti-doping committee has no problems with that. So no, as far as I know, caffeine is okay. Stepanzo says, my 3 energy drinks are ready as well. So they are getting started. So we're going to open a spectator room. We're going to close the lobby and see if this works. And it looks like it did. So let me very quickly change the shape. It didn't work. So bear with me. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, there we go. We should be up and running. So as always, they're moving along quite quickly here at the very beginning. Stepanzo opened with a ladybug. And Quodlibet is doing a buffered opening. So it'll take me a second here to get caught up. They play fairly quickly here at the very beginning. And as regularly happens, ants come in very, very quickly. And it's very interesting. Quodlibet opened with a buffered opening, putting 2 bugs between him and the initial opening bug by white. And then Stepanzo played the anti-spawn defense with the ladybug, queen, and pillbug in line at an angle to the starting axis. Mosquito comes in with both pillbug power and ant power. So will Quodlibet pin the mosquito? Or will he make sure he gets the pillbug in play by playing the pillbug? And with Quodlibet, you never know. Okay, I am going to turn the track mice, click it off there. And we're going to click this to use text. Okay, very good. So Quodlibet is a deep thinker, so no doubt he is considering very carefully the options here. Of course, if you do pin the mosquito with an ant and you don't immediately self-pin the ant, at some point the mosquito can warp the ant over and then have instantaneous ant power. The danger is if you don't immediately pin the mosquito, but you do something else other than bringing the pill bug, if you allow the mosquito to get to here, then it's going to be very difficult for the black pill bug to get into play. If you do, however, bring the pill bug in, then the ant can immediately get pinned by the white mosquito. So let's take a look what would happen if he brings an ant in. Yeah, well, you're only going to be able to get into a proximity position. So Quodlibet brought in the mosquito. Now, of course, the pill bug can go here, or when the ant moves, the pill bug can go here. So that would be the pill bug mosquito defensive combination. Okay, Stepanzo elects to pin the ant, and of course what that does is that leaves the mosquito with ant power. Now, if the mosquito moves away, unless the white mosquito takes a tempo to shift over, black will then have a spawn point here. Greetings to Daniel S. He has just joined in the chat room. And Quodlibet brought in another ant. And that's very interesting because if the ladybug were to jump out, then that would be a spawn point. It could be a beetle factory, a pin-proof spawn point, or it could be a spot for the pillbug to come in. Of course, black would be risking having both ants and a mosquito all pinned at the same time. But that would be only short term because no doubt a bug would spawn there very quickly. So we're up to 5. We had, I think 16 or something like that was the maximum number of concurrent viewers I had on my last live stream. It was it's much more difficult at this time of day because of the European time zones. Both mosquitoes currently have ant power, so if an opposing beetle were to be brought in, then the mosquito could immediately pin it, gaining beetle power, stopping the attacking beetle, but also threatening to climb up themselves. So if Stepanzo brings in another ant, okay, there we go. He's bringing in a spider. So let's look at the options for this spider that Stepanzo just spawned. Obviously going to here may not be such a good idea. It's probably targeting that spot right there. So let's just take a look. If the ladybug goes to there, the spider goes to there, then the white pillbug could spawn here. Of course, one danger that you run into when you spawn the pillbug almost completely surrounded by your own bugs is it doesn't have a place to warp bugs to. So let's take a look if he caps off the white ant. Nope. Okay. He brought in a pillbug here, and the spider went that direction. Now that's very interesting because the white mosquito still has ant power. Okay, the ladybug caps off the mosquito, and Stepanzo was very quick to bring in an ant. And this is one of the things that makes Quodlibet such a good champion, is he knows when it's okay to let your opponent get a beetle atop the hive. He could very easily spawn a beetle here in a good defensive position if the white beetle were to move forward. And with the anti-spawn defense that Stepanzo set up from the very beginning, even if Quodlibet were able to get a beetle atop the hive, it wouldn't have any direct drop spots. And of course, the beetle would have a track spawn 2, 3, 4 to cover the pill bug. And I'm just going to make another comment. I'm trying to improve my live streaming. So if you notice the previous live stream in this match, I spent a long period of time muted. So here's what I've done. When I mute, it puts a big word mute across there to bring it to my attention. You all won't, it's not for your benefit, it's for my benefit. Okay, and that's what Quodlibet did. He brought in a defending beetle, and immediately the white beetle moved forward, covering the ant getting ready to attack. Now, how does Quodlibet defend? Well, you know what might work here is warping this ant out. Gets the ant back into play, leaving the mosquito to defend against the white beetle moving forward. Because white still has an ant in play, ant in reserve, so it could bring that ant in. And if this ant moves away, of course, if the mosquito moves away, then the white beetle is free to move forward. If this ant moves away, then the beetle would be pinned, but the mosquito would still be free. So he brought in a grasshopper, which has an angle of attack to that spot, which would be a much better spawn point for the second black beetle. So if the white beetle moves forward, the black beetle can cover it, and then the grasshopper could jump into there, freeing the mosquito. The grasshopper would then become a good defender. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and click sound in the room that we're actually spectating. Okay. Stepanzo brings in a grasshopper of his own. Now that grasshopper is in an excellent defensive position, and it also has an angle of attack to either of these spots should either the beetle or the mosquito move out. And that's very interesting. The grasshopper gets warped to there. Is he planning on bringing the ant out? The other thing interesting is I have in the past used Firefox as my web browser for keeping my YouTube studio open, but I've been finding out that using Google Chrome, my computer acts a lot quicker and a lot better. So that's very interesting. He brought the grasshopper in and then warped it to there. So one of the things you realize in a lot of beginning players play moves without stopping to think, where, if I spawn a bug, where is it going? What path is it going to take to get there? And so when Quodlibet brought that grasshopper in, he was more than likely planning on warping it to there. So the white beetle moves forward, and Stepanzo has qualified for the win, which is necessary but not always sufficient. So which is Quodlibet going to do? Is he going to recover with the beetle, or is he going to recover with the mosquito? And if I had to venture a guess, I would have guessed beetle, because that leaves the mosquito free, and sure enough, that's what he did. Now, the only one comment here, however, is that white does have the opportunity now to bring in the third ant, because there's no black bug available to pin it. But Quodlibet could easily warp the grasshopper to there, which would free both an ant and the mosquito. So if the white grasshopper attacks, Well, if the white grasshopper attacks, then that would give mosquito could jump out, and black does have a free ant. So I don't think the white grasshopper is going to attack. If I had to venture a guess, I would say that the white ant is going to be spawned. The question, of course, is where? Although if the grasshopper does not jump into that spot, that's a good spot to get another defending bug in. Or the other option is he could attack with another beetle. And of course, that would be a good opportunity to bring in a grasshopper, which would free the mosquito. And free this ant. So even if the white beetle were to advance and take the setup shot, there's no white bug available to take the kill shot. So that's another interesting thing. I keep thinking about spawning a bug there, but the mosquito could actually warp this grasshopper in. That's more than likely a better option. Because it takes away the angle of attack. It interrupts the angle of attack from the grasshopper. So what would you do if you're Quodlibet? Without going into an extensive review of it, I think that the grasshopper to there is the best option. Let's take a look at timing. Of course, the timing here in the review window you can ignore, but we get the timing over here in the actual spectator window. They're both down to under 13 minutes. Of course, the timing is 20 minutes plus 20 seconds per move. And where Quodlibet is on move 30, that's 15 moves apiece. So right currently, they're not in any danger of running out of time. Yep. I think that Quodlibet is going to probably warp this grasshopper in. That frees an ant, frees the mosquito. Nope, that's not what he did. He spawned the last beetle. Interesting. Of course, that spawn point is just as close as possible to the white queen. So now this was my worry about that, about leaving this grasshopper here. This white mosquito only has grasshopper movement. So it is possible that Quodlibet could stop the beetle by pinning it with this ant. It's free. Let me shrink this down just a tad. So by the strictest definition of setup shot, that was a setup shot. It filled the penultimate kill spot around the black queen. But of course, white does not have a bug that has an angle of attack to take the kill shot. So one of these three bugs can easily move away. So let's assume for a minute that the black ant comes out to pin the white beetle. Then white brings in an ant, which would force the mosquito. Yep, Stepanzo has a very good attack going here. Nope, he moved out with the pill bug. Put the pill bug into a proximity pill bug position, pinned the white beetle, opened up the black mosquito. So these spots in here are going to be the most difficult for Stepanzo to get to. He's got a grasshopper with an angle of attack. If one of these black bugs were to vacate, he could attack, but the second black bug might be an issue. Of course, this ant would have an angle of attack to the spot if the mosquito were to vacate it. So does white immediately attack? Again, if white attacks, nope. The grasshopper attacks. I was just talking about the possibility of spawning that white ant. Okay, Quodlibet's looking at jumping out with the mosquito. And that's what he does. We're going to take a step back here over in this room. So the white grasshopper jumped to here. Okay, giving grasshopper power to the mosquito. grasshopper and ladybug power to the mosquito. Now these two ants kind of have to stay in play, because if either one of these two ants move in whatever way, the black beetle is then pinned, where right now the black beetle is pre-swamped. So if this spot gets filled, well, if this ant moves away, then this spot can be filled safely. So we're 30 minutes in. Quodlibet is under 8 minutes. Stepanzo's at 11 and a half. Brings in the final grasshopper. Now that's interesting. What happens if the white mosquito goes to there? Nope. He brings in a grasshopper in the same spot as the first grasshopper, with an angle of attack to these two kill spots. Now, initially, I thought, without thinking about it too much, I was thinking if the white mosquito used ladybug power to move to there, then there's nothing could stop the white mosquito from climbing up. But Quodlibet could then warp the ant away and then pin the ant later. So that would not guarantee getting the mosquito atop the hive. Okay, Quodlibet has done his thinking, and is moving the black beetle into attacking position. Now, of course, this grasshopper could attack, but then that would free this ant and that grasshopper. Oops, Stepanzo had connection issues, but he's back, it looks like. Okay, let's check the lobby. Is he still in the lobby? Okay, Stepanzo looks like he might be having some connection issues. He exited the room and came back. Well, let's see what he said. He said, something's wrong with the app. Quodlibet responded, NP, no problem. So let's take for a minute and think, does Quodlibet have the necessary bugs to win? He is a world champion. He's a world champion at coming up with bugs seemingly out of nowhere. Okay. Now, is Stepanzo considering warping the queen away? Would that... Oh, no, he didn't actually play that move. He was just looking at it. Sorry. But let's think for a minute. If he did play that move, if he did play the grasshopper there, and then he warped the queen out to here, is there any way that black could have enough bugs to win? Oops. He would need 5. He has 2 spiders in reserve. Possibly, but it would be difficult. Now, what would happen if the white mosquito were to jump to there, getting him out of the pocket and having ant movement? So there's a term, candidate move, which are those moves that are not only possible, but worth looking at. Okay, that's what he did. He brought the grasshopper in here after all. Now, is he looking at going grasshopper to here? The beetle can stop one or the other of these, but whichever one he doesn't stop would then be able to attack to there. But of course, that would free the other grasshopper. So what's the purpose of that grasshopper placement? Well, you know the pillbug's not going to warp it, because otherwise the grasshopper could have been placed at either one of those spots. So the question is, there's no benefit of going to here. So the question is he planning on warping the queen away and then playing defense? Or is he looking to attack with the grasshopper, potentially freeing up the ladybug? Problem is, if he attacks with a grasshopper, the beetle covers the grasshopper, then the ladybug moves, this grasshopper no longer has an angle of attack. And Stepanzo still hasn't brought in his 3rd ant. Right now, if he does bring in the third ant, the only black would be releasing an ant to pin it, because you would never want to release this ant. But black could release this one since this one is already in a kill spot. And each player is down to 2 bugs in reserve. So what do you think? Who would be happier with the draw here? Quodlibet, knowing that he's got playing white in game 4, or Stepanzo? Okay, now let's pretend for a minute that black doesn't move, and so it could very well be that grasshopper to there, that grasshopper to there, and then if nothing happens, the ladybug to here. Because moving the grasshopper to here would help keep this ant, this black ant, blocked in. Now it's Stepanzo who's in a deep think. Oh, I'm sorry, we're back to Quodlibet in a deep think. Quodlibet is down to 3 minutes and under 3:20. So if Quodlibet attacked, the grasshopper could get to there, but of course the queen just gets warped away. So I am thinking, okay, here we go. Glad I have my sound on so I can hear. Okay, Quodlibet does advance his beetle. Now he's threatening to qualify for the win by covering the queen. Is Stepanzo going to warp the queen away or continue his attack? So white has enough pieces. The question is, are they the right ones? Okay, we've got a new person joining as a spectator, Cochino. I don't know him. Whoops. So I'm thinking that if Stepanzo warps the queen away, it's his admission that he's looking for a draw. Because he would need 3 bugs to win. He's got 2 in reserve. Nope, he didn't do that. Instead, he went out with the mosquito. See now, let's take a look at a line of thought here. What if the black mosquito nope, too late. He's already decided. He's attacking with the ant. I'm sorry, with the grasshopper. Interesting. That forces white to move something other than the grasshopper. I'm sorry, other than the mosquito. Because now black is threatening to win. So white could warp the queen away or move one of his grasshoppers. Oh, interesting. Now, when this grasshopper attacks, again, the setup shot. Okay, let's see. Nope, he did not do that. He ended up instead warping the white queen away. Okay. Okay. Quodlibet jumps in, forms a ring, potentially freeing some black bugs here. So white does have 2 bugs in reserve and the mosquito free. That's 3. But he's got potentially 3 spots to fill. And you might ask, okay, going to here, but what he does is he spawns the spider. Spawning the spider keeps the mosquito from getting pinned. Because if the mosquito gets pinned, that forms a ring. So will Quodlibet use the ring? The mosquito could break it by going into the ring, or the spider can't beneficially break the ring, but could either one of these grasshoppers? Nope. Quodlibet continues his beetle march. No, that doesn't look like it does anything of benefit. The black beetle is going to move forward and qualify for the win. The question is, Does Stepanzo have the ability to execute a victory before Quodlibet? Spider moves in, and the black ant pins the mosquito. Now, if white forms the ring, it frees this ant. This might be Quodlibet's offering of a draw, essentially. So now, if Quodlibet's not ready for a draw, what would happen if he brought this mosquito to there? If the pillbug moves, or if the pillbug warps the spider or warps the ant, it forms the ring and frees this ant here. If he doesn't do anything, then the mosquito climbs up. So the tide has turned. It looks like Quodlibet has successfully defended. Now the question is he going to be able to attack and win? Stepanzo moving the grasshopper back and forth was essentially an offer for a draw. Jumps in again. Now I think if Quodlibet shifts the pin out again, then it's a draw. Or maybe not. Okay. Stepanzo offered the draw and Quodlibet accepted it. That's interesting. This would be definitely worth going back to review to see if there's any way at all that Quodlibet had an opportunity to win. Unlike chess, where many of the top level games end in draws, you have very few draws seemingly in Hive. Quodlibet says that no chances to win if Stepanzo would have 2 free ants. And I didn't realize that Quodlibet was down under a minute. So after 3 games, it's 1.5 points apiece. Going to game 4. Winner of game 4 will win Group A. If they draw, Stepanzo wins based on tie breaks. So we're waiting to see if they might be playing another one tonight. They've been playing for about an hour. It would depend on how much caffeine was in Quodlibet's coffee and Stepanzo's energy drink. Quodlibet says, my hopper's in a bad place. That would be this one down here. He can't move his mosquito. But I thought he could have moved the mosquito. So we're waiting for them. Maybe I'll drop a note and ask a question. Game 4 yet tonight. Okay, so it looks like they'll be playing game 4 at another time. So they will not be playing game 4 tonight. We'll be watching for the next time when they will be broadcasting. Depending on the schedule, I'll be trying to live stream game 4 of this match as well. If they play Monday about the same time, I more than likely will not be able to. Monday evenings is not a time that I'm available to live stream. So they're going to connect on Sunday to confirm. So it looks like they are finishing up. So we will exit room 1. Bring the lobby back in. So it ended up being a draw. Appreciate everybody that joined this evening. And don't forget, there is a link down below. I have released the Hive Lexicon in printed form. Link down below. Special pricing at least through the end of August. $5.25. And of course, if you would like to make a small contribution to my channel, you can buy me a coffee. Also a link down below. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining this evening. We know that at this time of day, we don't get a lot of our European Hive fans because it's very late over in Europe, but we had a very good turnout. And as always, it was enjoyable. And hopefully with this feature, I won't be forgetting to unmute. I'll put that great big huge red mute right there. So I'll know to go press the button before I start talking again. So thanks again for everybody for joining this evening. Thanks to Troy Medler, Daniel S., Artin Canali for commenting in the chat room. We appreciate that. And as always, I'm here helping you play Hive like a champion. Until next time, this is Randy Ingersoll signing off.